All right, now we're going to review subtracting integers, which if you remember is a lot like adding integers. We're going to do a quick little rewrite and then just use our adding integer rules. This is kind of, let you see it one more time, kind of bring it back into the forefront of your memory. So in the adding integers one, we talked about adding a negative number goes down to the left on a number line. Adding a positive goes up or towards the positives. Remember, for subtracting, it's the opposite. Subtracting a positive, so if I take something away from you, your total is going to go down. If I subtract away a negative, so if I said, you don't owe me this money anymore, I took away a debt, well, that means you got to keep that money, so your amount of money goes up. So let's look at these couple of examples down here. 7 minus 14. So I'm at 7. I'm subtracting a positive number, so I would go down 14, and I would end up at negative 7. Same thing if I were to do 7 plus negative 14. I would start at 7. I'm adding a negative number, so I would go down by 14 and still end up at negative 7. Here, negative 8 plus negative 5, or minus negative 5. So I'm starting at negative 8. I'm getting rid of 5 negatives. I'm losing 5 negatives, so I'm going to go up by 5, and I would end up at negative 3. Same thing if I was at negative 8 and I'm adding a positive 5. Adding a positive is going up by 5, and I would get that same negative 3. So you're kind of noticing that subtracting a negative is the same thing as adding a positive, or subtracting a positive is the same thing as adding a negative. You get the same answer just by rewriting the problem. Here, negative 10 minus 6. So I'm at negative 10, and I want to go down 6 more. So that would take me to negative 16. Or negative 10 plus negative 6. Same signs, add and keep their signs. So if you remember from our integers unit, we had our rule. Instead of keeping it as subtraction, we're going to rewrite it as adding the opposite. So we're going to change subtraction. It's going to change to addition. And the next number is going to become its opposite. It's going to switch its sign. So here, negative 17. First number stays the same. Subtraction becomes addition. The next number becomes its opposite. Here, 6 minus negative 13. First number stays the same. Subtraction switches to adding. The next number becomes its opposite. It was negative, so now it's a positive. Here, 8 minus 9. Instead of minus, I'm going to make it adding the opposite, which is a negative 9. And then just use your addition rules. Negative 17 plus negative 5, same signs, add and keep. So I'm going to get negative 22. Here, same signs, add and keep. 6 plus 13 is positive 19. Here, 8 plus negative 9, they have different signs, so I'm going to subtract. 9 minus 8 is 1. The negative 9 is bigger than the positive 8, so it's going to be a negative 1. Last one is just to remind you, when you're in a larger problem, whenever you see subtraction, we're going to rewrite it, but it only affects the number right next to it, not everything in the problem. So here, it'd be negative 12 plus negative 9, adding the opposite, but it doesn't change the 5 because the 5 was already adding. That's what we want. So we only rewrite the subtraction, not the addition. Negative 12 plus negative 9, same signs. We add them together and keep the sign. Then we finish the problem. Negative 21 plus positive 5. They have different signs, so we're going to subtract. 21 minus 5 is 16. But don't forget to take the sign of the bigger number. 21 is bigger than 5, so the negatives are going to win. So the whole key to subtraction is rewriting it as adding the opposite. Try not to do these in your head or just by staring at the screen. Write them down, rewrite them. It'll help catch some of those smaller mistakes as you're working through the problems.